Right, guys, Wrestling Geeks, I want to say was come out. Shooty Gat was worst to best Doctor Who stories. So, let's go. Yeah, we've got 19 stories from this man, so let's go. We've got a lot to get through. From worst to best. So, the least favourite, in my opinion, Shooty Gat story is Space Babies. I do think it's hard to get new fans on board with, and I do think I struggle to rewatch it, even though it is kind of an important episode, really, for Shooty's final story in some sort of way. But I do think it is his weakest. Joy to the World. Now, Joy to the World is an interesting one because there's bits I do actually like from this story, but I don't enjoy the character Joy. Everything else seems to work quite well. I think there's good ideas with the Time Hotel, and yet again plays a very important role in Shooty's final story. But yeah, I just don't gel with this one. And now at 17th place, The Legend of Ruby Road, the setup to the finale of Series 1. Like I said, it's just set up really, and a lot of stuff doesn't go anywhere, like Susan Twist. Is it the Doctor's granddaughter? No. This is just the build-up and reveal to Sutek. And Ruby's mom doesn't get revealed to the next episode. So this is just all set up. And yeah. Next up is at 16th place is Church on Ruby Road. Shooty's first proper story as the Doctor. And this one is where I all start to enjoy the episode. So before I would say they're the bad ones. This is where it's good. It's all right. Sort of standard we're at now. And Church on Ruby Road, I enjoy. I've watched it a few times and I think it's great fun. The goblins are cool. And Shooty and Millie's chemistry hit it off right from the get-go. And yeah, I do enjoy the time swapping with the babies and stuff. So that's good. Next up is Wishworld. The setup and build up to the finale. I first watching this, you can check out my review. It's only a couple of weeks ago since I reviewed it. I was very negative. I did watch this one again and enjoyed it a lot more. This is why it's popped up in the list. If I didn't rewatch it, this episode probably would have come to near the end of Shooty's era, to be fair. Like, for me, it wouldn't have worked. It'd probably be next to Space Babies. So yeah, but I did rewatch it and I did enjoy it a lot more the second time round. And as much as it is set up for the finale, there is some cool fun twists there. You can still adjust from my review of it as much as me talking about it now, so go check it out, I guess. Next up we have the Robot Revolution. Now, this is the beginning of Series 2 with the entrance to the Doctor's newest companion, Belinda, and I think it's kind of cool. I like it. I've watched it a few times. The robot stuff, yeah, a lot of people don't like this story. I do. I do think it's kind of fun, it's kind of interesting, and a better entry to getting to know Doctor Who, I feel like. So I would actually recommend new fans to jump on board from this point. Next up we have Dot and Bubble. Now, the Doctor's hardly in this, but following this other character, I guess you will, that turns out to be a really negative character, is an interesting experimental episode Doctor Who did. Also reminds you, obviously, of Black Mirror, but the Doctor, what he does play a part in this episode, is kind of cool and interesting. And I do like the virtual stuff between the Doctor and Ruby talking online and stuff. And this futuristic world, I guess you will. It's kind of cool and has some good ideas. Next up is Rogue. Now, a lot of people love this episode. I'm not the biggest fan of Rogue. I don't really care about him. But the story, I think, is kind of cool and interesting. With the birds and the twist of Ruby taking out one of the birds and stuff like that. I liked a lot. So, yeah, great stuff. Next up, at 11th place, is Empire of Death, the Series 1 finale. Now, this could be a shock for you guys. Why has he put it so high? I really enjoyed it. A lot of people didn't. I enjoyed it. And you can check out my reviews on that if you can find it on TikTok. But YouTube it'd be pretty easy to find. So check out my review of it there. I really enjoyed this final. And Sutek, I liked. I just felt like I wanted more from him than just standing around getting his minions to do his dirty work. But other than that, I think the stakes were high, and I think there was some sort of payoff there. There was some cringy stuff with Ruby's mom, but it still is good. Now, we're in the top 10 of Shooty's stories. At 10th place is 73 Yards, a story where the Doctor's hardly in it at all. However, Ruby Sunday, Millie Gibson, performs her ass off in this and is actually filming Doctor Who for the first time. This is her first proper episode in the show when filming, and she smashes it out the park. And the story that they tell there and the twist is really cool. So I like it. Next up, at 9th place, is The Story and the Engine. Now, this was a really good story from this recent series that I really loved, and the barbershop setting and the villain there, and Shooty actually helping the villain turn good in a way, and obviously having this big spider creature that feeds off for engines, feeds off stories, is a really cool idea, and I think Shooty's performance is really good in it. Next up is Lucky Day. Lucky Day is a great fun story that I'm always going to remember, as I was at Liverpool Comic Con meeting Anakin Skywalker that day, so I'm always going to remember that for when this episode pops up. It's a weird fact, but I was watching it at Liverpool Comic Con at the time. But yeah, I just really loved this. I thought Ruby and Unit, this really gives me hope for Unit spin-off because of this story. And Conrad was a great villain in this. I think he should have stayed as a one-off villain though, coming later on. Next up, we have the Interstellar Song Contest. Now, the Interstellar Song Contest, yet again, a lot of people did not like, but I really loved. I really enjoyed this story. I thought it was a lot of fun. And yeah, the Doctor going dark. We've seen the Doctor do dark things before, and I think this isn't out of character for him. For a lot of people that say this, I still think this is in character, and I do really enjoy him just literally flying through space and Susan, and I just think it's a great setting. So yeah, it was a great fun. And a lot of Doctor Who references, and I mean a lot. So that's cool. At 6th place is Boom. Yes, this was a phenomenal story written by Stephen Moffat. And yet again, I do think it's one of Shooty's best and strongest performances. And Ruby getting taken out really was interesting. However, and I did say this in my review of Series 1 a year ago, wow. Belinda Chandra, Monday Floon, I don't know what her character was in this, but I can say I did not like her acting in this, and this feared me for when she was the companion. I was honestly like, oh no, but fears were broken when she was actually the proper companion, and I think she smashed it in the role. So spoilers for that, but I didn't like her character in Boom, but Boom was incredible overall. At 5th place is Reality War, the finale we just had, Shooty's final story. Now, I honestly thought, oh, this would be near the top. I really enjoyed this, but there is better stories of Shooty's, and there is flaws in this. But I still love this story, and I would watch. This is in my top. It's my top 5. He's in my top 5. This story, and I would watch again and again. I think this is a great, fun story, and Shooty's era all wrapped up in a way, even though it wasn't meant to end this way. I feel it did wrap up quite nicely. Next up at 4th place is The Giggle, Shooty's first ever story and connection with David Tennant. The story alone was really cool, even if Shooty weren't in it, and I do think it is my favourite out of the 60th anniversary specials, to be fair. So The Giggle is definitely high up for me. Next up is The Well, a great connection to Series 4, but also the way they played it in this, and the creepiness and tones and Shooty's performance and Verada's. It was really cool and really well done. And now, at 2nd place, The Devil's Cord. This was my favourite in Series 1. So I was like, oh, can't be topped in Series 2. It does. Obviously, if you've been paying attention, you'll know which one. But at 2nd place is The Devil's Cord. I think the villain is incredible. I love the music, the time period, with the Beatles and the music going wrong, and Shooty's and Ruby's connection was incredible. At first place, I don't know why I looked at my notes because I know what it is. Lux, the cartoon character, coming to life and beaming at ya. This was an incredible, like really cinema style sort of episode. The tone, the Doctor and the companion was their best performance, I felt. The villain was really cool, and the best god we've had, dare I say it, was Lux and the Toymaker. But and the Toymaker's child, which is the Devil's Cord. So that's why they're in the top 5. But this was one of my faves. It is my fave of Shooties though. And yeah, I loved it. I think it's incredible. So yeah. Whoa, my jaw hurts from talking now. 19 stories from Shooty Gatwa. Why not one more to make it 20? God damn. Maybe one day he'll come back as a cameo, but they were his stories from worst to best, in my opinion. What's your top 5, or all of them if you really want to go that way? In the comments, let me know. Yeah, I just really wanted to pay tribute to Shooty, so I did his stories. We've got one more video coming out of Shooty Gatwa, and that is my thoughts on his Doctor overall. So stay tuned. Did he stay long enough? What he missed out on? Was the writing any good? And who he met along the way? I've got plans on talking about that for my final time talking about Shooty Gatwa. So stay tuned for that. And of course, thank you guys for watching. You've been watching the Geeks Assemble. I do Marvel, Doctor Who, Rick and Morty, Star Wars, you know it. Really place to be for a geek like me. So join and subscribe. See you guys in the video soon. Have a nice day.